Morning all, hope you're all doing well. As you can see, that is one of my tobacco cupboards. Again, we're in the garden office just now, which is essentially is where I hope kind of house all my tobacco, bar my cigars. The temperature in here is a bit of a challenge to kind of have stable. It's fine for pipe tobacco. Um, I often find pipe tobacco it's much easier to store because you can just put it in a box or put it in a cabinet like you see in front of you, in jars, in the dark, tucked away, much easier. Um, Whereas with cigars, if they're in a desktop humidor, that's kind of relatively straightforward to kind of keep in store. But when it comes to boxes, um, harder to correctly store. I use kind of large plastic containers just now. I do plan, if I can this year, hopefully to get kind of a large freestanding humidor, similar to a wine fridge or what you'll see online, those kind of humidor cabinets. My kind of cigar collection has got to that point now where I would benefit from one of those over just a couple large kind of plastic containers for my boxes. All my single cigars are still in desktop humidors, but again, those free humidors are now full, so either a fourth needs to be purchased or I should just invest in a kind of proper cabinet style kind of freestanding humidor, which I think is kind of the way I should probably go. But yeah, so kind of I arranged that the other day. Got quite a large, decent selection of my tins in there. Sorry, of my jars. Most of these aren't actually jars that I would go to on a regular basis. So you might be able to slightly see kind of at the back, at the bottom left, those two jars of those are kind of full for Watch City. One is Watch City Cigar Rougarou from I think 3 or 4 years ago, and the other one is their first release of Simply Orange. And then next to that is a larger jar of 1820 Flake by JF Germains, and then to the left of that tall flake, that fits perfectly, kind of full strips of Rich Dark Flake, so that's a kind of a full jar of Rich Dark Flake. I think there's 250 or 300 grams in there, so it's a good sized jar. Again, those are jars I've had for kind of a good number of years now. I think those jars will be 5 or 6 years old. And then the top left, again, that kind of large jar, that's I think a pound of, or half a pound of Boswell's Northwoods. And then again, next to that, those three more large jars are one of 1820 Flake, one of Rich Dark Flake, and one of special Latakia Flake. Again, a lot of my jars are still kind of here, there, and everywhere, but I'm just trying to slowly get more of them in here. But for the most part, it is a lot of kind of my cellar in jars. Kind of 95% of the tobacco I have in the cellar are in tin form or bag. Very few of it is in jars. I just happen to have some. Realistically, I mean, you've got the Watch City cigar stuff, that's in jars, but the rest of it in jars is really kind of when I used to buy a lot of JF Germains. Again, that's kind of going back 2020, 2021, when it was more available than it is now. Again, you used to be regularly available in loose format, that's why they've got the jars. I do have a kind of a pretty decent supply of Rich Dark Flake and Special Latakia Flake in tin form. I'll have to go through it actually, to be honest, to see what I've got in terms of quantity of tins, but you're talking kind of 10 tins plus of each. So kind of, for a tobacco that's so sought after and hard to get, back then, again, kind of we're going back 6 years now, it was still hard to get, but the drops were much more frequent and much more easily available. Although I still remember kind of towards the end of 2020, start 2021, when Jermaines did drop, it would maybe be available for like that day or the next day. It wouldn't kind of sell straight away, but it would sell out within 2 or 3 days. Whereas some of the least kind of favourable, less sought after blends, they would still hang around for a week or 2 weeks or free. But stuff like Rich Star Flake and 1820 Flake, that would kind of go straight out the door. I suppose when it comes to 1820 Flake, that's all I've really got, is what's in that cabinet there, because it was never done in tin form. It was only done by loose or bag. I was never able to get a bag of it, so it's really just in there. And again, you can see kind of top right, that's a tin of Christmas cheer that's actually opened. Inside I've just got the tobacco sealed in Ziploc bags, and then in the tin. It's actually quite a good way to store that tobacco. It's kind of in two kind of small Ziploc bags which are completely airtight, and the tobacco's absolutely perfect in there. That's my only tin of Christmas cheer, but I still have some other tins of kind of Frogmorton, kind of just standard Frogmorton on the town, Frogmorton on the bayou. I think I've also got a tin of Blue Mountain, I believe, somewhere. But again, when it comes to my tobacco cellar, I'll try and do a short video of it at some point, because again, I always like and enjoy viewing what other people have from a cigar and pipe point of view in terms of what their collection cellar is. But at the same time, from my own point of view and reference, I've never actually really gone through it properly. I did a while ago, just to kind of do a bit of a stock take when it comes to my Jermaines blends, because I don't think I've bought a tin or a pouch of Jermaines for about 5 years. It really was just in those 2 years, kind of 2020 and 2021, where I bought it, and since then I haven't bought any. But things such as Rich Star Flake and especially like Hero Flake are two of my favourite blends, so I wanted to make sure I had a good amount there. But a tin and a blend that I didn't appreciate at the time, which I had a bowl of last week and it was really good, was Jermaine's King Charles. I've got a tin of it, sorry, a jar of it just in front of you there. But again, good blends. It's just at the time I didn't appreciate it. I think I've got 1 or 2 tins of it maybe, and then just that one jar. So a good blend, more Oriental forward, but again, something I wish I picked up more of at the time. Pipe that I'm going to smoke and light is my Astley's. This is a really nice kind of short billiard that I got a couple of years back. Quite a nice blast on it, and in that a blend which I'm going to open just now, which I've not had for a while. I smoked, I think it was towards the end of last year, I smoked the last of it that I had opened, and that is Dan Tobacco Salty Dogs. This is a fresh pouch. I did check, this is a blend that I've got a good quantity of. In terms of pouches, this one is from 2023, so a few years of age on it now. Again, a completely kind of sealed pouch, so we'll open this, I'll open these for a while. It's quite a good tobacco to kind of just keep in the pouch. I know with pouches, some people will open them and jar the tobacco. With this, I don't feel that there's a need to because the actual plug is wrapped and then it's in the pouch. So what I do is I've got kind of Ziploc bags that perfectly fit 2 pouches in. Actually, I think I can show you. Give me a second. I've got my cellar of pouches in here. So the way I store salty dogs is like this. So they're kind of in the pouch. These are kind of Ziploc bags that perfectly fit 2 pouches. So that's kind of triple airtight essentially, because it's in the wrap. As you see here, it's in the pouch, which is sealed, and then I've got it sealed in this kind of Ziploc bag. So again, that's personally the way I do that with some of my pouches. But for salty dogs, I think, yeah, there's absolutely no need to kind of have that stored any other way. But if we give this a crack open, always a bit like a brownie. Really good plug. You see, it's a little bit of sugar crystals starting to form on it. Just a really great aroma. Kind of perfect. It's been perfectly stored and aged in these last couple of years. Something that I look forward to cutting and lighting a plate of very shortly. When it comes to kind of pouches, as I said, I don't really have a lot when it comes to pouches. Realistically, it's just this box that I have here, of which case all of it is salty dogs. So again, just the way that it's stored is in these kind of Ziploc bags. And I've got kind of a few different strange odd ends here and there. I've got a picture of Italia. I remember I bought that in Milan, I think, 2023. I've got a random pouch of Baron HH Vintage Latakia. Again, that's from 2023. That looks to be bought in Italy too. And then I've got a bit of a sleeper blend actually, I think. This was Tim No Name Gold Label. Again, great tobacco. Just give a straight Virginia, 2 pouches of that. But again, that's kind of the only, that's really the pouches that I hold. Actually, also a pouch of Kentucky Bird. I bought that from memory in Salzburg. Again, going back maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So that's kind of it for my pouches. Realistically, I don't really buy them, apart from salty dogs. That's all I really buy when it comes to pouch tobacco, and that's kind of just the way I store them there. By the looks of it, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 9 pouches of salty dogs. So I must have had 10 before that one I've just opened there. So again, give it quite a good amount of salty dogs. Realistically, it's probably a blend I won't buy any more of. Kind of the way I've always cellared my tobacco is kind of tens. So once I've got 10 of one blend, I don't really chase it anymore to kind of build a cellar of it, because although kind of my cellar is deep when it comes to certain blends, kind of 10 tins or 10 pouches plus, it's also pretty wide, so it's not a case that I've kind of got one blend that I've got 20, 30, 40 tins of, and that's it. Kind of, my cellar is quite diverse because I enjoy kind of sampling and smoking a wide range of blends and tobaccos. That's kind of always been my approach. But I do have larger supplies of certain blends which are kind of more my bread and butter, I suppose. And Salted Dogs is definitely one of them. Just, I don't know why actually, I thought I had maybe a few more tins of it, sorry, a few more pouches of it. But again, if I'm being honest, the amount of tobacco I've got to how often I smoke, it's more than enough. I could easily not buy a single pouch or tin ever again. I've got that much in comparison to what I smoke. Too much in the sense of, I probably will one of these days try and sell on certain tins and pouches, because again, it's just something that I think when it comes to cigars, kind of much higher priced in terms of the entry point there, to where one cigar easily is the cost of a tin or even more. Whereas you think a cigar might last about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending upon its size. Whereas a tin of tobacco can last me easily kind of 14, 15, 16 bowls worth. And if you think, if I'm realistically these days having a pipe once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks just now, kind of the amount of tins I've got will last me a long time. So I think I need to really go from my cellar, see what I've got, but see what I'm having to part ways with also. So maybe my next video that I do will be a proper kind of cellar tour. As again, I know that I enjoy watching those, but I know kind of a lot of other people also enjoy seeing kind of other people's tobacco collections, see what other people's interests are also. But yeah, well, I think that'll be it for today. It's kind of a video that I'll be honest, I started to record because I've got some spare time just now, but I didn't really have a topic in mind. But I think it's kind of gone through kind of my tobacco purchases when it comes to Jamaines, kind of going back some years, but then also kind of how I cellar pouches, I suppose. Which again, everyone will have their own kind of method to it in terms of, do they just put the pouch in a jar itself, as in keep the tobacco in the pouch and put it in kind of a large jar. I know some people do that. Some people will kind of open and decant the pouch into a jar and have it that way. Whereas again, when it comes to pouches, that's just the way I store mine, is in those kind of Ziploc bags, which again are airtight. But when it comes to things like Salted Dogs, if you know the tobacco is kind of double sealed, realistically that would be good enough. But I think from a kind of a storage point of view and just from a peace of mind, I just kind of go that next step there. But no, good to kind of engage with some more people last week or so. Again, appreciate everyone that tuned in and commented on my first kind of return back. Again, hopefully, again, as with this video on my one prior, this is the start of me trying to hopefully find the time to kind of be a bit more active, but also just engage more with everyone, as that's something that I've really enjoyed in the past, but the last kind of year and a half, 2 years, just really haven't had that time available. But no, hope everyone's well, hope you'll take care, and speak again soon. Cheers.